What's up, guys? It's the new sensation, Bigger Notation here, and today we're back with another T-2 deck profile right off the back of the Raid and Trade Regionals this past weekend. T-2 out here representing in the top cut everywhere, so we got a couple of people here to show off how they did and everything. And today we've got none other than Peter Dance himself, the King of Invoker. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. Got to show off the T-2 stuff, you know, showing off that we're the best team in Europe and everything.
True.
And yeah, you managed to come, was it third place with Golden Frieza in the end?
Yeah. So obviously the leader of choice was no other than the Emperor himself, Golden Frieza. And yeah, I ended up piloting it to a third place end result. So happy days.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And I know going into the tournament you weren't too happy to be playing Golden Frieza because there was another deck you were hoping to play instead. But you know,
exactly.
It's good to see you obviously pulling the results still with the deck, even if even if you might not be playing it so much in the future.
Exactly. Obviously, I'll talk about the deck strengths and where I think it goes in the future. But yeah, ultimately, I kind of I don't want to play the deck anymore, and I want to move on from it. But I wanted to play another yellow deck, but unfortunately, I didn't actually. I didn't even own the leader, which I thought I did. So I ended up. I was either going to play Janemba for a laugh, or obviously get the opportunity to play Frieza again. And I went with Frieza because I still want to do well, even if I didn't want to play the deck anymore. And I think going forward, I think I'm done with the deck. Mostly because of the Gohan matchup. I feel like Gohan has evolved so much now that it's so hard for Frieza to deal with green. I think it still is fine against all the others, but I think again more people know how to deal with Frieza now. So
yeah,
I think the deck gets weaker because of that reason as well.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Right, well, similar to Mikey's deck profile, I'll take my face off the screen now and basically just let you talk over your deck and your matchups and give us the details on the Golden Frieza, of course.
Yeah, sure. So it's a very similar list to what I've had before on the channel. There is a few differences, and obviously we've got the anniversary support, so I'll explain what new things I've added from that. But ultimately, Frieza's not changed. He's a set one leader. He's got a great ability where you can kill a Frieza army card, and then you basically just simply untap one, draw one. So nice, simple. You play loads of one drops, draw, kill them, and again draw and untap. Sadly, you have to awaken at 4 life, which is quite unfortunate. But once you're at 4 life, you pretty much stay then at 4 life. So the awakened side, he can actually attack and draw now. And then again, when he kills one of his Freezer army cards, he then gets to untap 2 and draw. So you're basically a blue deck, but under yellow skin, basically. So because we have to keep killing Freezer cards, it does also mean we have to pack an engine. Now, luckily in this case, the engine that Frieza has is perfect for the deck because of the way it interacts. So it's the same engine as we always have. So these 2 cards have a wall of text, but for this deck, it literally means draw 1 card. Ignore everything else about these. And that's what's perfect. You pay 1 energy, you draw a card, you kill it with your leader, you draw, you untap 1. So this 1 card's got you 2 cards. Which is perfect. And then obviously later on the line, you can pay 1 and you kill it, you draw 1, untap 1. So it's kind of like Crimson / Soul Striker type vibe. So that's why it's great. And then part of that engine also is Frieza's Call. And again, that's great because you then have extra cards either in your drop or in your warp, which is then perfect for the post. And again, it just helps to flood the field. Flood your drop with cards for Overrealm, things like that, and also Riposte as well. And then just to help, because you do need a Self-Awakening package, there's 1 copy of this particular card. And again, sometimes like when you're at 5 life, if you're against like a deck that you know's could counterplay like your Surmounting or your Master Roshi, which again are really important Self-Awakeners. Sometimes they forget about this card. So what you can do is go Frieza's Call, any response in window 1, no, you play this, and now it's on the field. What's really good, what my green opponent realized, was this card, it just has to leave the field for me to take a life, so it doesn't actually have to die from a leader skill. So if you're against green with, Charismatic, for example, you can then play this, and it's like, even if they kill it, you're still going to take a life. So it's a little fantastic thing with that. So again, this is just there for taking a life, but the rest is your main engine of the deck. And because they all draw cards and untap you, it's really good. To be fair, it's an amazing engine. It's not very big in the grand scheme of things. Now, because it's so important for you to be at 4 life, these are part of your Self-Awakeners. So Master Roshi, you run this over the swing take a life ones, because these have the ability to take 2 life in the same turn without attacking, because it's got an on-play auto where you take a life, and then you can pay 1 energy, take a life, and search your deck for this full moon power thing. It's a card that you don't run anyway, but it's an extra card. You could run it as little tech, but you're not going to. But they're really important cards to obviously get for part of your Self-Awakening. Now, part of your other engine, and also part of your whole kill potential outside of your secret rare, is the Unison package. I feel 3/3 is the correct amount, because with this current list I'm running, I've narrowed it down to 52 cards. I used to run 54. I think 52 is still quite small, and I wouldn't really go lower than that. But I've not decked out Touchwood since I've lowered it down, so I should be Gucci. With the Unison's really good because you pay 1 energy for this, and it's got a +1 where it can play this from the drop in rest mode with skills negated. So then obviously you can then kill that with your leader. If you're awakened, you can then draw 1 and untap 2. You don't get its on play skill, so you don't get to draw on play. But the point is, every turn this is alive, treat it as a free 2 energy draw. Is basically, and then the good thing is it gets tokens, it gets markers. So then when you empower this, like let's say this has got 3 markers because it lives 2 turns, you then bring this out, it's got 6 markers on, -3, and then you can just keep repeating that. And again, that's how you can get a lot of your wins through, playing 2 of these in the same turn and then swinging, 6+ times. So again, this is a very important engine. And it's also like how you win the game outside of your secret rare as well. So very important. The super combo of choice is the Krillin. For anyone that might have remembered in my old build, I used to run 1 Goku, because we'll talk about in a second, there used to be some interactions, but I've kind of moved away from that. It was a cute play, and I think it was fine. But ultimately, it didn't feel like it worked a lot of the time because people will just kill you super combo. So it was a cute play, but ultimately I've moved away from that, and I feel like the Krillins is the correct package. And then my overarm with choice is Secret ID. I would definitely not consider any other overarm in this deck. This is so important because, again, it kills blockers, potentially, depending obviously what cost they are. But it also just deals with, there's some aggro decks like the SS4 Bardock, for example. It's a lot of 2-drops. There is some 3-drops, but a lot of them are 2-drops. So then all of a sudden, overround, you've cleared the field. And again, the idea of your deck, the longer it goes on, the better it is. So I think this is the correct overarm of choice. And I personally wouldn't run any others. We still got, so this is like the yellow good stuff. So we still have 2 Sins. Sin's a weird one because when it first came out, it was so broken, like you'd want 3 or 4 copies. But there's a lot more decks now that have started to get easier barrier removal. Like the baby deck got the new promo for 2, I think it's 2 energy or 1 energy. And then obviously Black's got the new Cumber stuff. So this is kind of it feels less good. It's still very good, but I think at 2 copies it's fine. I don't think I would increase that to 3. I think I would be happy to leave that at 4. Sorry, at 2 copies even. And of course, Riposte, I 100% obviously would always run 4 copies, because again, it also works with your leader skill. So if I negate your attack and then let's say you leave it open, again, I have another target I can use for my leader skill if I need to. Again, maybe I've not got a unison on the field, or maybe I've overwhelmed all my targets. I'm not sure. But, again, it depends on the situation. Or again, let's say it's my secret rare turn. I tap 5, kill this. I've now got 2 energy open for Bloodlust, or whatever it might happen to be I need. So I still run 4 of these Son Goku and Vegetas. I ran 4 in my old list. The big difference was, like I said, I ran 1 of the Super Combo Goku that this can play, and I also ran 2 of the Self Awakeners, the ones that can either get dual attack or double. I found it a cute play, but I didn't really use it enough. And at the time, I was again running 54 cards. So I just thought to myself, let's get rid of them and go down to 52. And I feel like that was the correct decision. So if you want to do it, that's I think personal choice. I will say I sided out one of these quite often. A lot of today, when I wasn't sure about what to side out, I would normally get rid of the 4th copy. And if I have 1 early doors, I will just charge this. It's a very good card because it's lovely removal for anyone that might not remember what it does. You combo away, continues the energy, you pay 2, you target a leader for its condition, you draw a card, and you kill something in rest mode, ignoring barrier. And it's just so good because of it. It's also got another activate main where you can warp it and play a Frieza or Goku 2 or less, but I'm not using it for that ability anymore. And again, this is another target you can use your leader for to kill. So again, think of it like this. I pay 2 energy, bring it out, swing at you or whatever, kill something, and then I can kill this, draw a card, untap 2, and then I'm starting my turn with no energy. Again, something you can do if you really want to. So just talking about the final 2 battle cards before I get into my secret rare. 1 copy of Counter, because counters are great, so why not? I do have more copies in the side deck. And also 1 copy of this 5-drop Frieza. I used to run 2 of these. I'm not sure which version, so I'm not sure if the old list I had on this channel ran 2 or ran 1. But I only run 1 now. I feel like it's still an amazing card. It's good against green. It's good against pretty much everything except for yellow and blue. Well, it depends on what can blank the skills, because obviously there's quite a few now because they're packing it for Gogeta. But ultimately, it can't normally be removed from the field, and it's got a board wipe on play, so it's a very good card. Again, it's got a wall of text, and only about half of it actually works for this leader. The most important bits do. So, just before I get into the secret rare, which you can all probably guess what it is anyway, I'll go into the extra cards. So, Bloodlust, if you're not running this card in Frieza, then you need help. We have 2 Flying Nimbus. This is probably, I'd say, the MVP of the weekend, because a lot of decks now, annoyingly, have started to run Kutsukai. So when they go for their kill turn, obviously normally like ripostes and stuff like that would cost too much to play because you'd be discarding. Nimbus, like, even though there's only 2 copies in the main, I feel like Nimbus was the best performing card over the weekend. But I don't think I would increase it either. Like, it's not something that you want to do back to back, but it is something that what you do is you hold out, and then if they Kutsukai you go, okay, this is the turn I need to Nimbus. Or if they don't respect Nimbus and they swing with leader. So again, it does depend a little bit, but I think 2 copies is fine, and I don't think I'll be increasing this. Power Super Saiyan, it's a good card because it's limited to 1, but it's not one that I would cry if I had to get rid of it. I mean, there's been times when I've charged it. One Realm of the Gods. This is very good. Again, I tend to charge this more than anything. It's just a 10k rest 2 battle cards on your opponent's turn and draw a card, or on your turn. I think I haven't used it on my turn, but if my memory's correct, you kill something in rest mode. Yeah, choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. Again, it shows you how rare. I don't remember the last time I ever used it on my turn. So it has been mostly a defensive card, but you can obviously charge it because it is handy to sometimes charge things. 1 copy of Frieza Army Reinforcements. It's good when you're at 5 life, and let's say you've established a unison, because you know you're against a deck that's not going to attack you much that turn. It's a cute way of going down 5 to 4, and then obviously on your turn you can then awaken. So again, it depends on what you're doing that turn. 2 time magic. I feel like this is very good. There's a lot. There is dual attackers in the game, and it's nice to have some sparking negates because outside, I mean, this is obviously a life one, but outside of that, this is obviously a sparking negate as well. And then the last 2 is T-Blow and Final Flash. I think with these with all these extra cards, you can mix and match. There's no right or wrong. Obviously, other than having, say, Bloodlust in the main, like you would have that. There's no reason not to. I feel like if you don't want Black Kamiha and you want 2 T-Blows, you can do that. Like, there's literally no right or wrong. It's just mostly personal preference. Like with the Nimbus, I think Nimbus is amazing in the main, but some people might prefer Release from Evil, for example, in the main. And that's obviously, again, personal choice. But all these extra cards, they can be swapped around to however you like. And then, of course, the one secret rare, the only secret rare that I think this deck should play is Golden Cooler. It's a boss monster and a half. And again, it's a case of when you play it. I mean, the thing is, you've got 2 win conditions in this deck. This SCR or your Unison package. Both of them get me games. This probably steals games I shouldn't win, and I think that would go for anyone that plays this particular card. Like, there is going to be games where your opponent's got, say, 1 energy open, you've charged 6, and you've still got a riposte on your field. You pay 5 to bring this out. They might be feeling safe because they got petrification. You kill the riposte, you've now got 3 energy open. So then when you swing with this, they spend the last energy on, like, let's say petrification, for example, and then you can counter it. So, like, times like that, this feels super unfair, but it is just yellow. But it's what yellow does. Now, just talking about the Z deck, the Z deck has changed a little bit. You're still gonna get the Vegeta surmounting because you need to self-awaken. I used to have 2 copies of this. Again, Wall of Text, just treat it as a 15k vanilla. Oolong, I don't play this very often, but it is, again, another win condition. This is a very good card. This is basically all the nice good keywords when your opponent's got 5 cards in rest. It's, deflect, dual attack, barrier, gets 5k on each swing. It removes battle cards. It's got a lot of cool effects. Again, I only run 1 copy because it is 3Z energy, which is costly, but it is very good. Of course, you've got to have the 1 Goku. This is very good as well. The amount of leaders I keep in rest mode because of this. I played this quite a bit actually because again, it's got great disruption. The Vegeta I didn't actually play once over the weekend, but normally it's good for barrier removal because it can also remove cards in active mode, which is normally its greatest strength, because as you've probably noticed, a lot of the other cards kill in rest mode. This is one of the few cards that can actually kill in active mode, so that's why I guess it's still there. And then the brand new card is the anniversary card. Now, I would highly recommend everyone to get these in every single color because I feel like they're absolutely amazing. I've only got 1 copy. I don't think I would increase that in this particular deck. There is decks where you could definitely increase it, and I think the yellow one is really good. But in a nutshell, it's got a wall of text. I'm just going to skim it a little bit. But basically, it's a 1/1. It's got an activate battle. It's no energy. but you just discard 1 Z energy, and it's 10k, and you get to rest one of your opponent's battle cards. So it's kind of like a realm. And then its other effect, you pay 1 energy. These are activated battles, by the way. 1 energy, and then 3 Z energy, and then I get 15k. I get to blank skills from battle card of Unison. So this is really important because you just put this out, let's say turn 2, and then people have to respect this. Plus, it's a card that you can rest for riposte. Not like riposte really affects this particular deck, but if I forgot to swing with leader first, I can now rest this to then swing. But it is useful against like the Vegito counterplay. So it's a nice card because you can rest it as well. But like I say, I only run 1 copy. I only feel like 1 copy is correct in this particular deck. But if you haven't got all of them yet, I would highly recommend them. So just going into the side deck as well. So because Gohan / Green is my worst matchup, I have to have 3 Mataitos. This is a very good card, but it's also part of the reason why I'm moving away from Golden Cooler, because the decks are getting answers to this. They're being clever. So this is obviously good against when they play the first Vegeta from underneath the field card. You rest it and it slows them down. And it's of course good against the boss monsters like the 8-drop. And the problem is, as part of the cost, this has to go to the drop to rest a card. So what happens is people start counterplaying this. So like if they're the Unison build, they can play Frieza, kill this. You can no longer pay the cost, so you can no longer rest a card. Or because they're all running Kutsukai now, basically you're then spending 3 cards in a sense just to rest the battle card that's coming in. So it's kind of rough, really. So it's a great card, but decks are getting answers to it, so it's kind of like slowly like dying. We've got to think about the next evolution, and that's what's great about this game. 1 copy of Release from Evil, it's fine. There is times when it's really good, and I think maybe I should make an effort to get 2 copies of this. I ran it at 1 and it was fine, but again, I would definitely look at ways of getting a second one in the side. 2 Vegetos. This is, because Riposte does nothing against Unison decks, this is a card that does work against Unison decks. So if I'm in the mirror, or if I'm against a heavy aggro deck, like let's use the new SS3 Bardock as an example. So again, I wouldn't change it from 2. I think 2 is a good number, and it's good against those decks. 1 extra copy of T-Blow. Bring it in against like Android 21 if they want to try and ramp early, or like the baby deck, or anything that sort of wants to ramp a bit early. And talking about Android 21, that's also why Cunning's in there as well. Nice little card. I only run it as one-off. It's one of the, because if you think about it, their 8-drop is going to come out quite late, even if they ramp. So I may as well, run it at 1 copy, because again, it's not like the deck is rampant. 1 copy of the Unison. This is for the secret rare because it can rest it and blank it. I think this could potentially go now. So I think potentially I could easily just go, one of these for a Release from Evil. I think that's personal choice. I ran this today, but I think this will end up leaving the deck. Now, another card as well. I've got 2 Coolers. I think this could also drop down by 1 as well. I feel, because obviously I have 1 in the main. I don't think I've really side in 2 normally. I do sometimes against like the Gohan matchup. It can be useful to side in an extra, but again, this is another card I think I can drop now. At least 1 copy. Death Blaster, again, when I need another Bloodlust, depending on the matchup. So again, if I really am scared about like the Cumber SCR, for example, then I can have both this and my Bloodlust to deal with it. Durin to deal with the Android 17. Even though Turning the Tide doesn't really get seen much, I still respect it because that deck is very, very well. Sorry, that card is very, very strong. And 2 Black Smokes. So, Black Smoke is a good card, and it's obviously better against certain unison decks. Again, I feel like it's a card that you have to have, but it's not a great card at the same time. So I think if I was to change this deck around, I would probably remove these two particular cards. Probably add another release from Evil, and then I'm not sure for the other slot. Maybe I could run my own Kutsukai, but they don't tend to they don't tend to work as well as against certain decks. Sorry, when other decks use it, it works better, I feel. But that's kind of the deck for Frieza. Like I say, there's not much that's changed, because I feel like it's a set one leader, unless there's specific sort of good yellow, cards, or particular Frieza cards. There's no reason to update the deck. Like obviously in this case, I've added the anniversary card, and I've tweaked some numbers, but ultimately, unless it's yellow good stuff, the deck doesn't really change. So I think, just looking towards the future very quickly, I know a lot of people keep saying ban Frieza, and yes, he is an incredibly strong deck. But I think at the moment Gohan keeps him in check because the unison dies really quickly, and I just feel like Gohan has a lot of answers. So if Gohan left the meta, I feel like unfortunately Frieza would probably go unchecked, and then probably be maybe those bans are deserved. I know a lot of people on my team feels like it needs to be banned, but we'll see. Maybe it does, but one thing I have noticed, I will say, is when people know how to play against Frieza, it's a lot harder to play the deck. So when I play against someone that attacks me turn one, I'm loving life because they shouldn't be attacking me. But again, it depends on the deck they're playing as well. But generally speaking, you shouldn't attack your Frieza, really. But yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. I think it's not going to be my finals pick because obviously we've got finals coming up. I do think I will be on yellow. But we've got a new set, so chances are there might be a new deck. Who knows? But that is my list.
Damn, and even leaking some text for finals with the source. Let's go.
We'll see what happens. But,
yeah, of course. But yeah, I definitely think I agree with you in terms of the little comment about Frieza's current state and Gohan keeping it in check. It does feel like one of those things where I do think Gohan kind of has to be dealt with, at least alongside Frieza. I don't think it's a case of Frieza will get banned before Gohan does.
Yeah, no, correct. I mean, I did play against one Gohan on the day, and funny enough, was actually my final match. It was against one of my Spanish brothers, David, and it was a great game, and it literally went to basically time. But it was one of those scenarios where he had like one card in hand, I had like two, and it was my turn, and it was literally just a case of unison -3, unison -3, and there was just too many attacks in that particular turn. But again, that's just an example where the unisons can steal the victories as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much for joining me and giving another Golden Frieza deck profile today, Peter. Hopefully we'll get to see you on a wider variety of decks after this, and you can obviously showcase all of them on the channel as well.
Yeah, hopefully next time I come back, it will be finals champion.
Hell yeah.
We'll see.
Before we finish up, was there any sort of last comments you wanted to give, or any shout outs you want to drop down?
I guess so. Shout out to obviously Ollie for having me on his channel. Obviously, he's a teammate and a friend, but it's also nice when we get to display these decks to you guys. I know you've probably seen Frieza a few times, but it's just so you get my insights. Shout out to my team -2.
Team -2.
Team -2, baby. Shout out to all my opponents, to everyone I play with, and everyone for watching when I'm either casting or judging or playing. Do quite a lot. So
doing a bit of everything nowadays.
I do.
Lovely. Well, yeah, thanks very much for joining me today and giving another deck profile. And of course, thank you guys very much for watching as per usual. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.